The band Kiss was in Berlin. It was May 1997. The tour manager at the time, Danny, called me and asked me to come to the hotel because the guys might want a massage, but they definitely wanted to be shown around Berlin. It was a rainy Monday night. Didn't have anything to do, so I said, of course, who would say no to hanging out with Kiss? So I went to the hotel, and Ace really wanted a back massage before we went out. So I went to his room, and he was walking around the room showing me all of his gadgets. He had lots of video equipment and things like that. And he said, you can call me Mr. Gadget for short. And he was a very friendly, happy person. However, when I was staring into his eyes, I could tell he was a little bit sad as well. So while I was massaging his back, he was telling me about his life story and life on the road and what it was like being in the band and so on. I didn't know much about Kiss. Remember, 1997 is before the internet. Not a huge Kiss fan. I mean, I listened to the Beatles and Frank Zappa and The Who and the Stones, but not Kiss. Not against them, I'm just not a huge fan. So I didn't know much about them. Ace was filling me in, okay? So after the massage, we went to the hotel lobby and we met up with Peter and Paul and Danny, and we all got in a van and I showed them around Berlin. We went to Oranienburger Strasse and they were cracking jokes at all the ladies of the night that stand in a row on Oranienburger Strasse with thigh-high boots. It's a sight to behold, okay? I took them to Tacheles, which is an extraordinary building that's, it used to be, it's gone now. It was like a building that squatters took over and turned it into like a bohemian art museum kind of thing. It was crazy, 24 hours parties and stuff. And I took them to this little disco and they're like, it seems like a gay club. Can we go somewhere else? So I was like, listen, it's a Monday night. It's raining. I'm doing the best I can, So anyways, we had some fun and I don't drink or smoke. I'm the sober one. I'm a good tour guide because I speak fluent German and English. We go back to the hotel and Danny told me I'm going to literally have to be on call. And Ace kind of needs a babysitter. See, Ace was not supposed to be drinking. He promised to be sober for this tour and he needed someone to hang around with and to make sure that he could have fun in Berlin, get shown around like a tour guide, but also somebody that made sure he stayed sober. Before I left the hotel, I gave Ace my beeper number. I had a pager because nobody had cell phones back in 1997. So the next day when I woke up, there were lots of messages from Ace and he was thanking me for hanging out and said that my massage was very brutal. And I did tell him no pain, no gain when it comes to my massage. And he asked to come over right away. So I got my rollerblades on and I met him downtown and I'm reading from my book right now. First we went out for Chinese food and then to a bar. And he asked me if I had any girlfriends that might want to hang out with us. And so we all met up and we went to Ace's room and he opened a bottle of tasty champagne, which he was not supposed to be drinking. And my girlfriends drank it. And he showed us the movie Barbed Wire, Pamela Anderson's movie Barbed Wire, on the wall of his hotel room because he had some kind of projector gadget. And so all of us three girls and Ace, sat on his bed watching Barbed Wire. Oh, and while we were watching the movie, Ace wanted me to demonstrate my bite massage on his back. So here's my girlfriend sitting on the bed and I'm biting his back, and while we're watching the movie, he liked the bite massage. I invented the bite massage when I was a little girl, by the way, if you didn't know. Get with the program, will you? Ace was telling us all about his daughter. And he had a photo of her in his wallet, and we agreed that she was extremely cute. And I can't do one video without that happening. Ace had a chaotic life, and from what he was saying, but it was all still unclear if he was married or dating. He didn't want to be specific. He only mentioned some exes. Typical guy. So when it started getting late, we told him we had to go. Ace pleaded with us to stay. Please stay longer. He would gladly pay for our taxis home. I guess Ace was kind of just a lonely guy. He's not the only rock star I've seen like that. That's touring for you. That's the shit thing about being a rock star. In order to make money, you have to go on tour. And when you're on tour, you're stuck in hotel rooms a lot. So it's really hard for touring musicians to behave, because if they get lonely, they can either get into gambling or drugs or alcohol or women. It's super hard. Touring is very hard. Anyways, the next day, May 21st, was their first concert. It was in a big open air stadium called the Waldbühne. And I got a laminated pass so I could go anywhere I wanted. I really wanted to go to the show, but the same day on May 21st, I got a phone call from Danny's brother, William. He's the tour manager for Supertramp, and they all needed massages. So I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to go with Kiss to see their show, but now I have to run over and massage Supertramp. And I didn't know what Supertramp looked like. I love Supertramp. I love their music, but I have no clue of what they look like. Who does, really, So I went over and I massaged the band, and I did watch a few songs, and it was amazing how everybody in the audience knew every single song. I was like, what is going on? Like, are Germans the biggest Supertramp fans in the world or what? It's not even their language, but they still know the words to every song. It was amazing. Ace was paging me on my beeper the whole time I was massaging Supertramp. He's like, where are you? When are you going to come to the gig? After I massaged Supertramp, I rush over back to the Four Seasons to Ace's room. And he's like, I have to do my makeup. So I'm talking to him. I'm keeping him company while he's doing his makeup. It took him 4 hours to put his Ace Frehley makeup on. And we were talking and ordering room service and stuff. I got to watch him do his famous Ace makeup, which was pretty cool. We made a little selfie, and I had a really shitty camera back then, but here it is. So after I watched him put his makeup on, he wanted me to go with him in the van to the Waldbühne to watch the Kiss show. However, William asked me to come back to the concert hall to massage more people from the Supertramp gang. So I did that. After the Supertramp gig, I rushed back over to the Four Seasons Hotel to massage Ace again. I missed the Kiss concert, so I massaged Ace and everything was fine. Kiss asked me if I want to come with them to the Hard Rock Cafe. Of course. Who's going to say no to that? So I brought my girlfriends along. My Colombian girlfriend, Jacqueline, and my Finnish girlfriend, Satu. We're like joined at the hip, me and my girlfriends. Oh, by the way, there was another van full of platinum blonde groupies. German groupies. I'd never seen them before. They were Gene's guests. Hordes of fans were already waiting outside the Hard Rock Cafe, along with a heap of reporters from newspapers and TV stations. I was kind of angry later when I saw the footage of the next night because it looked like I was a Kiss groupie. They said Kiss arrived with their groupie harem. Hamburg treats were dressed like super groupies. Apparently these groupies were from Hamburg. I don't know why. Me and my girlfriends, we were dressed pretty sporty and decent. No low-cut shirts or anything. The groupies, well, they looked like they came from a Kiss video. Anyways, let the tongues wag. Ace seemed kind of uncomfortable at the Hard Rock Cafe, actually, because all eyes were on him, making sure that he wasn't drinking. So I hate to admit this, but Ace would have me go to the bar and order him a drink, bourbon and Coke, and pretend that it was mine, and when no one was looking, he would have a sip. So I kind of was abetting. I don't drink alcohol, so I was drinking ginger ale, but I had a bourbon and Coke in my hand for Ace to take a sip of. I was young at the time. Now that would not work. I would say, nope. So Ace looked really grumpy in the Hard Rock Cafe. So Jacqueline and I and Satu, we decided it's a good idea to bring him to the Europa Center Irish pub. So we did. So we walk into the Irish pub with Ace, and the bartender says, Dot, who's the old guy? And I'm like, it's Ace Frehley from Kiss. And he's like they didn't know who he was. He had a good old time. I used to work in that Irish pub before I could speak German. That was my first job in Berlin, was working at the Irish pub as a waitress. Just a little trivia there.